We're listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hayner.
Hey guys, it's Zoom and Hayner present Zoom the TBT, and today we have Coach Ruebesam and George King of Team Colorado. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing today?
Fantastic. Thank you for having us. We love your coverage of TBT, and we're excited to be a part of it again this year.
Yeah, love to have teams on. Yeah, love to have George on and everybody. Let's get right into this. Team Colorado has a very storied history, has made TBT finals before, has won 8 games as a event over their term. So, Zach, what does this mean to your program to have this presence over the summer for recruiting, exposure? What does this mean to the University of Colorado?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head with us, Andrew. TBT is extremely important to our culture at Colorado, and because of its value, that's why we keep coming back and doing it. It serves as almost a reunion of sorts for us, getting guys like George King, getting Andre Roberson, getting Shane Gatlin, Evan Batty, all of these guys back on campus around the same time when our team is here in the summer is so valuable, because we have freshmen that are coming in to see you, and they're just getting here. Everything is going well. They like it. But then they get to talk to a George, an Evan, a Deshaun Schwartz, and really find out what it means to be a Buff. And when you hear guys like George that have had a great career at CU and he is a Buff through and through, tell these young kids, like, this is what we went through. Because the unique thing about us as well is Coach Boyle has coached all of these guys on our team. Coach Boyle is going into his 15th year here at Colorado and has had a ton of success. So for George to get to talk to those dudes, like, yeah, when I played, this is how Coach was. This is kind of some of the things we did. So I can relate to it, and it makes those freshmen and the new guys into our program, relate right away to it. So it's huge for our program.
I want to play off that minute. You mentioned the bringing the reunion back, Zach. I love that. George, obviously you're coming back to play for teammates. And the alumni teams have a couple of big advantages in TBT. For one, there's obviously a built-in fan base. You guys will have the entire Buff family behind you, but also the shared history, the shared style of play. So when you meet your compatriots again, how easy will it be to get into flow both personally and with sets and knowing what to run? Like, how much does that help having a shared experience at Boulder?
Yeah, man, we already got a little bit of a head start because we know each other. You know what I mean? We know each other as people, as men, and we know each other's games, and we know where we like the ball. It's just going to be a really good time, man. But yeah, like you said, it'll be an advantage for us for sure. And I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a good time.
I want to ask you both a short question, or whatever, the ones you want, about the traveling life and how there's no breaks. People think that professional athletes, professional coaches have a great life, and I'm sure you guys do, but people don't underestimate the amount of work. I'll start with you, Coach Zach. This is not a dead period. Still recruiting, still get your players in there. You are on staff at the D1 team of Colorado. So how much of a challenge is it to fit in a major event like TBT into your summer period?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is no one really understands how much planning and how much preparation really goes into TBT. This is not something that just gets thrown together. It's months of planning. It's, recruiting our guys that we want to be a part of it. And you talk about our summer schedule as a college basketball coach is already nuts in terms of the different recruiting periods. Like, I am actually going recruiting in July, and then we come back and boom, TBT training camp starts right away. So it's a hectic time. It's a busy time, but I think the reason I continue to do it and, George isn't interested in doing it again this year is because it brings everybody together. Like, the time that you get to spend together with these guys, and it means so much, is, well worth it. And, we'll take time out of our schedule anytime to do that.
Definitely. And George, kind of flip this question to you. People correctly think basketball players have a good life, and you guys do. You guys have a great life. I've heard, but there's not a lot of downtime, especially if you're overseas pros. I mean, you played in Israel. The practices are intense. You have a lot of games. Your summer is really short. Is it the honor of playing for the old school and the fun of meeting your old guys that makes you cut an already short summer short? Like, how much of a sacrifice is it for you to play this event when you have such a short summer already?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Rue hit Rube hit the nail on the head. You know, obviously our summers are extremely short, right? Like, let's paint this picture for you. I mean, I just got done with a season that I just got back 2 weeks ago from my season.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, today I started slowly starting to get myself back. And the reason why is for TBT. Normally I would take a little bit more time to let my body to rest. But out of a 12-month calendar year, we're playing for 10 months. And so for that 8 weeks that we have off, you want to spend as much time off as you can before you need to start getting back in the gym. Because not only is it just about resting your body, you also want that mental rest as well, right? So to answer your question, yeah, what brings me and allow my 8-week summer that I have and use it to play basketball is to bring the guys. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I will be as interested if my experience at Colorado was what it was with the guys. You know what I mean? Like, you know, to see Dre, to see, you know, Deuce, like, we all overlap in some way. I played five seasons. I was there at Colorado for 5 seasons. I played 4. So I overlapped with a lot of these guys. And so my reach is very long. And so I'm able to, you know what I mean, be around these guys. And me, naturally, my purpose, I love to mentor young guys. So me being around the young guys, I was at CU training last year, and I got to meet Courtney Anderson. We had a great conversation in the locker room. Being able to watch for him, can really shoot the ball. And so I built that relationship. I have Courtney's number in my phone. I was texting him throughout the season. I love doing stuff like that. And so, you know, it's just, for me, it's just a mixture of, I get to scratch wear a lot of hats. I get to see the guys that I play with, I overlap with, but I also get to establish a relationship with these new guys coming in, and, you know, just help build our program. And so that's why. That is why for me.
Can I touch on that?
You absolutely can. I was going there, so you can do it. Hit it.
Yeah, I mean, if I could turn that into a marketing video, like anything, that was unbelievable. But the coolest thing about Team Colorado and the University of Colorado men's basketball program is what George just said, because it's real. Like, it is all real. And Courtney, I can vouch for him. I was telling Courtney this morning in our workout, like, hey, I'm about to go on a Zoom with George this afternoon. He's like, I love GK. Like, I got to spend time with him this last summer. Like, that is why we keep TBT alive, and we keep trying to do it, because of those relationships.
Yeah, I mean, I think what makes this so special, I think makes the TBT event special is there's so many different storylines with the alumni teams fighting for their old school and their old teammates and for each other. And also some of these weird cause teams and some of these just sort of fun, sort of gadfly teams. Every team has a story. Every player has a story. Every bit of team has a story. So it's always a really interesting thing to see all these competing stories. That's the happy news. Let's get into sort of the self-interested news. I'm always a big believer the kindest moves are through an enlightened self-interest. So, George, obviously, this is a great job fair. I know that most overseas pros are usually on one-year deals. They're usually job shopping right now. The Races are hard at work placing quality players like yourself. So is TBT a great networking and sort of event to meet other players, meet potential agents, find different situations? Like, how much does that help overseas pros sort of like as almost like a networking event, not just a basketball event?
You know, to be honest, I don't know how much weight this will hold coming from me, because my experience with TBT as far as playing and traveling is very minimal. But I understand that TBT has grown a lot, and there's a lot of really good talent here, coaches, players, people that are just in the industry. And yeah, for sure, just like anything, when you pull a lot of people who are in the same industry in one area, it's a networking opportunity for not only just players, coaches as well, trainers, whatever the case may be. So, you know, just being around that energy, people around surrounding basketball, true basketball, people who love basketball are all in the same area, same time. You know what I mean? What an opportunity, not only to showcase what you can do, but also the network. And so, yeah, for sure.
Touch on that too. I want to hit the same question of Zach. A lot of guys have made the chair from assistant coach to head coach out of this. Grant Leonard for D2 became a D2 assistant to a D1 head coach within 2 years of doing this. Like, have you seen that this can really help you as a coach take on a different role running a team over the summer?
I mean, 100%. Like, it's my dream to be a head coach at the college level at some point. This is, quote unquote, free head coaching experience. I am doing everything from logistics to recruiting the guys to putting, you know, events together at this reunion to then getting the head coaching experience in the games and calling calling the timeouts and making the substitutions and, dealing with all of the media obligations, all of the things that come with being a head coach. So yeah, this is crucial for me and crucial for my development, but also we use it as development for not only for guys like George and our players, but also our staff. Like my assistant coach this year is CJ Armitage, and CJ is going to be our he was a student manager at Colorado, is going to be our graduate assistant. So this is really his opportunity to coach now and coach guys that one are receptive to coaching and great dudes, and let him figure some stuff out as well, in a different role than he's going to be in around our team.
Okay, that sounds great. Yeah, it's obviously a growth opportunity. It's a really great way to spend your summer in between, what little time you guys have off. Zach, does this help recruiting at all? Like, is this something you can go into someone's room and say, hey, listen, did you see us on TV?
I don't know if I sell the TV stuff as much, but I sell the relationships. Again, we're a relationship program. So when I can go tell an 18-year-old kid that, hey, this is one thing we do your freshman summer and hopefully your sophomore summer and junior summer, there's going to be guys around that are where you want to be in 4 years. I think that aspect of it is huge. That, again, Courtney Anderson and George King, like, that's real stuff. That it's not so much, oh man, we got to watch, Coach Rube and we got to watch George and Andre and Evan on TV. It's more like, hey, I was in Boulder when these guys were at training camp and I got to build a real relationship with them that's going to continue to last.
And to add to
Absolutely.
that,
yeah.
I remember in 2014, 2015, I believe we were one of the first schools to enter into TBT. In fact, I'm pretty certain that we were. I remember when the guys came back that I only heard about from, our athletic coordinators and stuff. Mindy Scalaro would tell me about, Richard Roby, Carlin Brown, all the old heads, if you will, for me at the time back then, Marcus Hall, they all come back. And I remember I went to Vegas and I spent the time. I went out there, I hung out with the guys. I mean, obviously I couldn't play and they allowed me to practice. I would, but I would hang out with the guys and I saw what they were doing off the court. I saw them stretching with bands. Marcus Hall, I remember I watched him closely because I loved the way he played the game and how he took care of his body. And I'm like, oh, this is what pros do. Oh, okay, these guys are going to bed. Like we had rented an Airbnb. I'm like, once it started to get kind of dark, you see guys start to wind down. I'm like, oh, these guys are going to bed. Oh, these guys are getting up. Oh, they're stretching. Oh, these guys are making sure they got enough water in them in a day. And I saw that in 2015, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is the stuff that I need to be doing if I want to be a pro as well. And so that was something that I was able to take and apply to the rest of my career at Colorado. And I hope that I can do the same for some of these young guys. I hope maybe a young guy wants to be around us as much as possible. I don't know if they can, but at the time I remember we were in Vegas. I was able to go with the team. But even just a little hour, 2 hours that they can hang out with us, I remember for me, it paid a lot of dividend and it still does. And it's huge, man. It's when it's right in front of you and you can see the things that, that the people that are at the level that you want to get to, doing the things that keeps them at the level that they're at, that you want to get to. That's, you can't, I mean, there's nothing much better than that, man.
I would think that sounds like a great mentoring, a great experience to both give and receive. I think that's really awesome. We all have people we look up to, and it's always helpful to have that experience, both of taking and giving that experience. That's all really good. The Marcus Hall thing came up a couple times. Obviously, he's running back with Heartfire, but Coach Ruebesam, can you just steal him? Is there a possibility to get Marcus? Can you just blindfold him and just kidnap him? What needs to happen to get him back up Colorado?
Yeah, Marcus is a very loyal guy, and I have, fortunate to have built a relationship with Marcus, and we've had conversations, but again, he's a loyal guy, and, he was very much considering it this year, but with everything they have going over at Heartfire, he felt it was right to do one more run with them, but you never know. Who knows what the future holds with MH, but, he is an all-time great buff. He's a buff through and through, so, if he's not playing for us, he's having success everywhere, but I know he's always pulling for us as well. So, I talk to him frequently, and I know George has a relationship with him. We want nothing but the best for MH.
Unless you guys play him in Philadelphia. It's funny. I was actually in Philly when they played in the Final Four. I don't know if he told you about this, but we were sort of joking around with his assistant coach night before, or right before the game. And he goes, how do you think it's going to go down? And I honestly told him, I'm like, you guys are going to get drilled. Like, heard that's going to beat you by 15. And he goes, really? I'm like, yeah, you guys are going to get stopped, just so you know. And I was kind of kidding, kind of not actually. And then what happened is the assistant coach, motivation is motivation. I was just kidding around, but he went up to Marcus and told him. And so in the press scrum after, he reached me, I goes, hey, Hainer. And I'm like, yeah, what's up, Marcus? He goes, heard you said we were going to get stopped. And I'm like, oh my God, he told him. And he goes, I really appreciate the incentive. And I'm like, no problem. But yeah, that's not what happened. They walked out with $1 million. I couldn't be happier. Marcus Hall is a true TBT legend and a class act. Okay, George. So look, we talked about a lot of stories. Let's talk about some basketball. What's this team going to do? What's you guys going to run? I see a lot of switchable size. I see 6'1" to 6'8". I see all positions covered. You guys are going to get up and down. You guys going to run a half court. What do you guys think you're going to do?
I think that's a question for Ruebesam.
Okay, Ruebesam, what are you guys going to do? What's the plan, man?
We have a lot of versatility, a ton of versatility. We have guys that can handle it. We have guys that can shoot it. We have guys that can pass it, all very skilled. And defensively, we're able to guard multiple positions. We're able to switch. And I also think, we have a little bit of an advantage about practicing here at altitude for a couple of days, like get our legs underneath us, get going up and down. But I think this is going to be a very fun group because there's a lot of different combinations that give you different size, give you different skill levels, give you different strengths, different weaknesses that we can kind of plug and play. And, we can have 5 shooters out there at one time. We can be really big with, George playing the 2. We can, or even the 1, whatever it may be. I think there's a lot of different things that we can do.
Yeah, I mean, switchable size is how you win this event. Having a lot of guys you can throw out there 6'4" to 6'8" and just basically smother people is a big way to win this event. Altitude, I didn't actually consider that. I always forget how high up Colorado generally is. George, does that conditioning stay with you for life? Is that still something that's in your body, having played at altitude?
No, sir. No, sir. I can be in Colorado. No, sir. Look, that's the thing. That's the beauty of it. Also, I don't care if we were in, training camp in Colorado. You come home for, the Maymester or whatnot. You go back. You got to reassert yourself. You got to get reacclimated. You got to make sure that you got gallons of waters with you. That's the dope thing about the altitude there. And that's why I enjoy coming back to train there just before, when I'm ramping up to go off to training camp for my season. It's for that, because it's unmatched, bro. It really, really is. I mean, it's a real advantage. But no, for sure, no. That's not something, once you go there, you're good. No, sir. You got to be there. Once you leave it, especially 2 weeks, 3 weeks, when you come back, it's going to be like you were never there in the first place.
Oh my God, your body memory is short, right? Okay, so yes, Coach Ruebesam, where's camp going to be?
Yeah, we're having
it here in Boulder.
Yeah, we'll be back in Boulder, and again, it's about relationships. It's about tying the past in with the future. So we do everything in Colorado. We do it at CU. We're going to fly all the guys in. July 15th, July 16th. Did a couple good days of practicing before we head to Wichita, but it's really, really cool how we've done it because we have meals, we have events, we have time to spend with those guys and time to see, like I said, we have a lot of continuity in our program with Coach Boyle and, our assistant coaches. So it's a time for George and all the other guys to get back and see them as well. And, there's a lot of people still on campus that follow all of these players, and we have an organization that we support, Buffs for Life. They're one of our main sponsors, and Buffs for Life's main sponsor, what they do in their organization is they are there for Buffs after they graduate. If there is a Buff that is going through a hard time, they are there to fundraise and help Buffs for Life. So doing things with them and just showing gratitude for everything that they've done for not only myself, but all of our players, during our time at Colorado and after. Everything's going to take place here in Boulder.
Can you mention the sponsor one more time? So I'm sure sponsors play an integral role in this. Who's your main sponsor again? Just mention it one more time.
Yeah, it's Buffs for Life. So BUFFS and then the number 4, then life.
The people that pay the bills need the respect. So make sure we mention that. If you get me a logo, I'll put it on the side actually too. Okay, real quick, talk a little bit. Roster move. We're taping on a Thursday, June 13th. We'll probably release it in a couple days. But literally a big move announced today, like right before the show. Andre Roberson's coming in. So George, how exciting is it to have an NBA vet like that on the team?
Bro, Andre is going to help us so much, and we live in the same city, so we were training last season, and I got to see his ramp up, but Dre's going to help us in multiple ways. I mean, he's going to help us obviously on the court with his talent. I love playing Dre one-on-one because he's going to make me have to go deep into my bag to even get a decent shot off. You know what I mean? And so I love that. But he's also a super pro guy who takes care of his body, and make no mistake, he's one of those kids that these young freshmen, sophomore, they're going to see that. And I think that's only going to pay dividend in their careers with Dre when he's taking care of his body, the things that he's doing. But no, I'm really excited to play with Dre. I've actually never got a real chance to play with Dre. Dre was the reason why I came to Colorado. It's a long story, him out of San Antonio, but he's literally the reason. I saw Dre when he was at Wagner High School, when I was a young kid, middle school, high school. He had the city on fire. He signed to Colorado. I kept up with him, and I saw what he was doing his freshman year, and I was like, yo, I want to go there. I want to go to Colorado. And when he put his name in the draft to go to the NBA, it opened up a roster spot. And just so happened, Tad Boyle was watching one of my AAU games and loved me. And when Dre called him that night to let him know, hey, I'm going to the draft, Tad Boyle reached out to my AAU coach and told me he was offering me. So he replaced a San Antonio kid with another San Antonio kid. And I remember we had the same locker as Dre. So Dre is literally the reason why I was able to go to Colorado and the reason why I even wanted to go to Colorado. So, but to answer your question, I got long-winded. Dre's going to be big time for us. And I think it's just going to be really, a lot of people will be really excited to see Dre when he's on campus and training and stuff. He's going to draw a lot of, attention to us in Boulder for sure.
George, don't ever apologize for being long-winded. We do a lot of these interviews, so please take my work from me. I love that. Be as long-winded as you want. Coach Ruebesam, roster's looking really solid. Any more ads we can expect to see? Or is anybody you're trying to add? I mean, I don't need any names, but there's still some pieces you're trying to put in the puzzle?
Yeah, I think the balance with TBT is getting quality guys, which we have. We have a ton of talent this year. I feel really good about our roster. And then making it worth the while for everybody, So getting the right guys. So we're going to be very selective with any more additions that we do have. But, we have some things in the works that may or may not pan out. Obviously, TBT, everything is so fluid and everything has stuff going on. So it's important to cast a wide net of guys you're interested in and then narrow it down as it gets closer and, put a team on the floor that gives you every chance to win, which I think we do.
Definitely. I mean, it's also a really loaded roster. George, one thing I love about TBT is, and this is something I think that people just misunderstand as sports fans in general. It's one of the things I'm fascinated with it. People come to TBT as fans or being involved for different reasons. But as a high-level professional in my own career, but at the same time, not a person who's one of the top 400 best in the world. Keep in mind, most people aren't, and there's billions of people on the planet. So there's only 450 NBA jobs. And people don't understand that if you're a high-level overseas player like yourself, you're literally 451 or even 350 just to get your break. What do people need to understand about the high quality of overseas play in these leagues? Like what does a casual fan need to understand about people playing overseas, about their high quality and how intense overseas ball is?
Yeah, for sure. I think the mental of it is probably even more important than your physical abilities. You know what I mean? It's really a chess match, honestly. Obviously, if you're athletic, you have all the talent and physical gifts that God was giving you, great. But if you want to really succeed at that level, and you got to have the mental game as well. And that's what you see right now. I'm bringing up the NBA. The Celtics. You know what I mean? They're playing they're playing mental games as well. You know what I mean? Looking at Derek White foul late. You know what I mean? There's little stuff, but also another buck. But no, overseas basketball, man, it's a very tactical game. Here here in the States, we play with based off our physical abilities, right? We're going to attack the weak defender with and we're going to give the ball to our best offensive player, and they're going to play 1-on-1. There's 5-on-5, man. They're going to move the ball. They're going to play and beat you with their plays. And, you know, every now and again, you'll see a play where, you know, 1-on-1 opportunities, they'll go, whether it be in the post or on the wing or on the top of the key with a guard. But for 40 minutes, man, I would say 36 out of those 40 minutes is played 5-on-5. And, you know, in the States, you know, you get we call it butter situation, you know, 7-6 seconds on the clock, they're going 1-on-1. 5-6 seconds on the clock in Europe is an eternity. They're still moving the ball. You know what I mean? So they're not looking at the shot clock as like, oh my God, we got to get a shot off right now. It's like, no, we're still looking for a great shot, you know? So, but that's the best way I can put it right here, right now, man. It's a mental game for sure.
And the mental game comes into play a lot in TBT. You have to end on a made shot with Elam ending. So the end of these games is always really, really insane. Coach Ruebesam, I'm really bummed personally that we haven't had a West Coast region in a while. I'm based in New York, so the East Coast and Midwest Central doesn't hurt me. But we haven't had a West Coast regional in quite a long time in this event, Wichita being the furthest west you guys get to go. How hard would it be to get this to Boulder one year?
Yeah, you know, there have been preliminary talks about how we can make it happen. You know, there's a Colorado State team now. So they're floating out ideas. There's a lot of logistics that go into it. So I think it's a little bit above my pay grade, but I think going in the future, I think there would be definite interest to get it out here. You know, we have a major airport in Denver, 35 minutes away from campus. I think the fan interest would be there, especially, you know, with Colorado State having a team as well. So I don't know what's going to happen, but we're excited to be to Wichita, and Wichita's easy travel for us. So we're fortunate for that.
Now, George, when you played at Colorado, you guys were still in the you guys were in the Pac-12, correct?
Yes, sir.
So rejoin the Big 12 this year. Historic Colorado fans get to watch you guys play some teams. You know, this will be a pretty rivalry-heavy region in Wichita. I mean, would a dream lineup be a Colorado State team in the first round, a K-State team in the second round, and potentially wipe them up with Kansas if they get in at the end? Would that be a fun sort of rivalry row for you guys to have to traipse through?
Talk about the stars aligning, man. No doubt. That would be, I mean, that would be dope. You know what I mean? And it'll be a lot of little extra motivation to play in those games too, for sure. So, which is only more fun for a real competitor. You know what I mean? So, if the stars align like that, I think it'll help the TBT for sure with ratings. It'll be a couple extra people tuning in on those games for sure.
Definitely. Coach, Colorado State, obviously the big brother, little brother alumni games are always insane. They're a quality program, but they are in a smaller conference in the Mountain West. Is there any feasible reason that won't be the 4-5 game just on ratings alone? Like, are you guessing that's just where they're going to shove you just for pure eyeball sake?
You know, now that we're in the same region, because last year we were in Dayton and I think they were in Wichita. My opinion, I'm quietly expecting us to face off at some point. Those guys have done a great job up there and got that thing going. And, you know, there were talks, I spoke with them last year, like, hey, if we're not in the same region, we should do something joint together, like a scrimmage or whatever it may be before. But now seeing that we're in the same region, like, I don't know if it's going to happen by chance, but I think there's definitely an opportunity there that will probably be taken up.
I think it's always helpful to remember TBT because it's a wonderful event. It is a competitive event and people take it seriously, but like they're not, especially the new Fox deal, they're not immune to ratings chasing. And I think if we're doing a bracketology this year, obviously I would assume whether it be the 4-5 or the 3-6, that there's a decent chance you guys are going to end up playing.
Well, you know,
I would just kind of guess that.
Yeah. And obviously you live in New York City. So I explain Colorado State as like really any other rivalry, but you don't understand it until you've been in it. I think George would agree with that. Like, it is a real hostile rivalry, especially like you can see the football game last year, the CSU football game with, you know, Coach Prime and Colorado State. The ratings for that were off the charts. So it is a real rivalry where, you know, the cool thing about our team with all of the Colorado guys, and then our deal is if you have to play in Colorado or go to college in Colorado, be a part of Team Colorado, our biggest rival for most of these guys is Colorado State. So it's an interesting dynamic from Colorado to Josh Adams at Wyoming. Their big rival is Colorado State, to Northern Colorado. Their big rival is Colorado State. So at some point, if we see those guys, I know it'll be a little bit extra in that game because there always is between CU and CSU.
I can't imagine they won't find a way to make the stars align, so to speak. George, you got a pretty loaded region. I'm looking at the teams now. There's 6 declared. And we're just going to go ahead and assume that the Massachusetts or Mass Street K-State or Kansas team sneaks in here somehow. I assume that announcement's probably coming. But let's assume they're in there. So you're going to have the Aftershocks for sure. They've already declared, who have made deep run last year and always are tough at home, to the point of the refs basically giving them calls, letting them tackle people like they did a couple of years ago. You got TNT, who's made deep in the event. They have Clanton, who's an absolute beast in the post. You have a K-State alum team that's retooled, ready to play. You got you guys, and you got Rama, plus possibly Mass Street. How loaded is that region? Is this as true just box office region?
No, I think so. You know what I mean? Like those clubs or those teams that you just mentioned, they're powerhouses, man. And I look forward to it. It's a loaded region, and I think we got the team to do it. You know what I mean? To really make some noise in there, for sure.
Okay, we'll save George for one more, and then we're going to start wrap this up. I'm taking up enough of you guys' time. George, how do you plan on spending your share of the $1 million?
I'm gonna get a BBL in my knee so I can be 7'6" like Wembyama. 100%.
That might be the best answer I've ever gotten on this podcast.
Yeah, I gotta get. I'm out here.
Love that.
I'm out here in San Antonio. What about another a twin tower system in with the Spurs? I'm 7'6" like Wemby. We got 2 of us out there.
Yeah, we gotta have Wemby call you up and get you to hook up on the Spurs. That's what we need to get done.
100%.
100%. Coach Ruebesam, let's leave with this, and please stay on after so we can talk a little bit after. But let's leave with this. What do you want? How can the fans of Colorado support you going into this? Watching, donating, like being with you in tickets and spirit. Like, what can your fellow Buffs do to help you guys push this over the hill?
Yeah, first I'll talk about donating. TBT is it's all privately fundraised, right? So my staff and I have all worked hard to fundraise to give George and the rest of our guys a first-class experience. Like when we're doing TBT, if we're not doing it like we're traveling as we would going to a college game, like we're all going to Airbnb because of the camaraderie of it, but we do pregame meals. We try to cover this, cover that. So try to do it as first class as we can. And, that takes fun. So they can go on to Buffs for Life. And if you search Team Colorado Buffs for Life, you'll be able to find a donation link, which is always appreciated from Buff Nation. And then really, we want as much interest in this as possible. I think it's a cool time of the summer where NBA finals are done. Football hasn't quite started. You're kind of in that lull of the summer, and it gives our fan base in Buff Nation a chance to relive some of the memories and see some of their favorite players of the program's past come together again and get behind it. I know we talked about when we made the run in 2015. I wasn't a part of Team Colorado at that time, but the camaraderie and the interest behind a deep run in TBT, I think is something that is unmatched. And I think is something that's fun for our program and for our fan base to do in the summer and kind of springboard us into next year.
Excellent. I love that answer. I think we'll leave it there. Unless, George, do you have anything you want to add? Are you good?
I mean, right there. I mean, I think Rue hit it on the head. I'll just add, man, think of it like this from a fan perspective. You might have loved Andre Robinson and his time at Colorado, right? And then you realize he left, he goes on to the NBA, and then you got myself coming in. And it's like, man, I love George King too. Man, it would be nice to see them. What would they do if they both played together? You know what I mean? Well, here we are. here we are together on the court together, wearing black and gold with Colorado across our chest again. So, I mean, it's just a unique time, and it's going to be a special time, a special moment.
Well, this will be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see you guys with the new Fox Sports deal. It'll be on SS1. Absolutely can't wait to see you guys in the first round. Coach Ruebesam, George King, thanks a lot for coming by.
Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate you having us.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming by. And this is thanks, George. And this has been Zoom the TBT, and we are, as always, signing off.
Hope you enjoyed listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hayner. Subscribe to YouTube, follow on Twitter, and give us your money.